And I know that the director preferred your audition.
Oh, wow. So, Martin Campbell, right? Who did Casino Royale, preferred Cavill, but of course Barbara Broccoli, that's what her name is, who handles all the Bond stuff, didn't. Ouch. This is interesting right here. And this is where I kind of go like, Matthew Vaughn, what are you doing to Henry Cavill right here? What are you doing? This is interesting. This is very interesting because Matthew Vaughn talking about the reason why Henry Cavill, back before Daniel Craig got the role of James Bond, why Henry Cavill, who was going up for the role and lost the role to Daniel Craig, why he did not get the role.
That's a really hard one for him to answer. So I'll try and save his blushes. But it was really bizarre because when Henry was auditioning for Bond, I was at Pinewood, right? And Daniel was as well, right?
Yeah.
At the same time. And I'd go off and meet with Daniel, and he'd say what's going on. He said, "This is young guy, Henry Cavill, I think they're seeing as well." And I'd work with. No, we hadn't done Stardust yet. Have we done Stardust? No, we hadn't done Stardust yet. But that's how you came in. That's how you came into my radar. I was thinking, well, who's this guy who got down to the last two for Bond? So that's how I discovered you, because your audition. And I know that the director preferred your audition.
Oh, wow. So, Martin Campbell, right? Who did Casino Royale, preferred Cavill, but of course Barbara Broccoli, that's what her name is, who handles all the Bond stuff, didn't. Ouch. And look at Cavill's face. Cavill's like, I'm wondering, is this the first time he's heard this? By the way, that hair looks fantastic.
They decided you were too young. And
Yeah.
I probably shouldn't have said that.
I get that.
Broccoli's not that keen on me anyway, so what have I got to lose? But he would be excellent, but it's unfair for him to discuss about a project that he might be involved with or not and ruin it because of a question.
Do you agree with that, Henry?
I neither agree nor disagree with anything.
How do you feel about the fact?
But he would be a great...
I love how Sam Rockwell is right in the middle of this, oh boy, what's going on here? Jesus Christ.
Henry, don't worry, you can relax. I'm not going to ask you another Bond question. Well, maybe just one. How does
Who
it
says
feel
I'm not
that indirectly it's Matthew's fault that you didn't get Bond because Layer Cake was so good?
I have nothing to say about that.
All right.
I think, by the way...
Thank you.
I mean, Layer Cake was good. It's a good film. If you haven't watched Layer Cake, watch it. I mean, that's essentially what won the role of James Bond to Daniel Craig. It did. Even though you look at the cover of it, you go, oh yeah, there's James Bond right there.
It's a blessing. I think you would have been too young to have the one
Too young.
Bond
Makes sense.
curse.
I mean, look, I think, first of all, I don't think there's a curse for those kind of things, but I do think that Daniel did an absolutely amazing job.
He did.
And he and everyone else involved breathed new life into the franchise.
Absolutely correct. They did breathe new life into the franchise, and that's why those Bond movies are my favorite of the whole entire thing. I mean, yeah, I could appreciate the older ones, sure, but man, what they did, with Daniel Craig and everything, just absolutely fantastic. But Jesus, I mean, this is all, of course, coming in the fact that we're getting a new James Bond, and everybody's talking about Cavill possibly getting it again, which is interesting because Matthew Vaughn does say you were too young back then. Is he not too young now? I mean, that's what everybody's kind of questioning. I'm like, is Henry Cavill now too old? Was there a moment where it just depends on where they want to take the franchise? I mean, I think that Cavill would make a great Bond, but I just kind of wonder if that's just not in the cards anymore. I don't know. But it was just very interesting, and it almost makes you just seem like, is this when Cavill actually found out about all this? And I'm like, Matthew Vaughn, shut the fuck up. It's like, Jesus. Anyways, all right.